Alright, so let's talk about stress. I mean, we've all been there, right? That feeling when your brain is running a million miles an hour, your body feels like it's been hit by a truck, and your behaviour, well, let's just say it's not exactly award-winning. But here's the thing, stress isn't just this abstract, I'm overwhelmed kind of vibe. It's actually this intricate, almost dance between our brain, body and behaviour. And get this, it's a feedback loop. Yep, a loop. It can either lift us up and help us adapt or drag us down into maladaptation. So let's break it down, shall we? First up is the brain. Oh, the brain, our very own control centre, the CEO of stress management. It's the one that decides what's stressful and kicks off the whole reaction process. And it does this through a bunch of systems: neuroendocrine, autonomic, immune, metabolic, you name it, the brain's got a finger in that pie. Now let's zoom in on the big players, the hippocampus, amygdala and prefrontal cortex. These regions are like the brain's stress avengers. The hippocampus, it's all about memory. The amygdala, fear central, and the prefrontal cortex, that's your self-regulation headquarters. But here's the kicker. Stress hormones like cortisol can actually remodel these brain regions. Yeah, remodel. So depending on the situation, this remodeling can be super adaptive, like helping you learn from a tough experience, or totally harmful, leading to things like memory problems or emotional overload. Now let's talk about the body. When stress hits, the body's like, all right team, let's activate the HPA axis. That's the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, if you want to sound fancy at dinner parties. This activation leads to the release of cortisol, which is basically the body's stress MVP. Here's the cool part. In the short term, stress can actually be good for you. Yep, you heard me, good. It can boost your immune system, sharpen your focus, and even improve cognitive performance. But, and it's a big but, when stress sticks around for too long, it turns into what's called allostatic load. That's just a fancy way of saying the wear and tear on your body from chronic stress. And let me tell you, it's no joke. We're talking increased risks of heart disease, obesity, depression, the works. Not exactly the kind of souvenirs you want from your stress journey, huh? All right, moving on to behaviour. This is where stress really starts to mess with your day-to-day life. It can impair your executive function, throw your self-regulation out the window, and make decision-making feel like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. And let's not even get started on emotional dysregulation or memory lapses. Those are like the cherry on top of the stress sundae. But here's the silver lining. There are ways to fight back. Adaptive coping mechanisms, things like leaning on social support, staying active, or using cognitive behavioural strategies can help you take stress by the horns and steer it in a better direction. It's all about finding what works for you. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Understanding how the brain, body and behaviour interact under stress gives us this amazing roadmap for tackling early life adversity. And trust me, this is big, like really big. So let's dive into some strategies, yeah? First off, we can use biomarkers, things like cortisol levels, immune markers, or even telomere length, to spot kids who might be at risk for stress-related disorders. It's like catching the problem before it snowballs, and by understanding how early adversity impacts brain development, we can step in with targeted interventions before maladaptive patterns take root. Talk about a game changer. Next up, creating nurturing environments. Studies show that positive maternal care and early social support can actually counteract stress vulnerability. How amazing is that? Parenting programs, early childhood education, community support systems, they all play a huge role in buffering against early adversity. It's like building a fortress around these kids to protect them from the storm. And then there's therapy, cognitive behavioural therapy, CBT, mindfulness, emotional regulation training. They're all fantastic tools for rewiring stress responses. Plus, encouraging self-efficacy and teaching positive coping strategies can make a world of difference for kids and adults alike. It's like giving them a stress toolkit. Oh, and let's not forget the basics: exercise, sleep and nutrition. Regular physical activity, a good night's sleep and a balanced diet can do wonders for reducing stress-related damage. And don't underestimate the power of a solid support network. Sometimes, just knowing you've got people in your corner can lighten the load. Finally, we've got to think big picture, policy-level interventions. Public health policies that address socio-economic disparities, prevent childhood trauma, and improve access to mental health resources can have a massive impact. Programs that reduce chronic stress in disadvantaged populations, like financial assistance or workplace flexibility, can improve health outcomes across the board. It's about creating a society that prioritizes well-being for everyone. So, what's the takeaway here? Well, the interplay between the brain, body, and behavior under stress is absolutely crucial. It's what determines whether stress becomes a tool for growth or a pathway to decline. By understanding this relationship, we can design interventions that reduce allostatic load, enhance resilience, and promote better mental and physical health. Whether it's through nurturing environments, behavioral therapies, lifestyle changes, or policy reforms, we have the power to make a difference. And honestly, isn't that what it's all about? All right, that's my spiel. Thanks for sticking with me through this whirlwind of stress science. Now go take a deep breath, grab a cuppa, and remember, we all go through some sort of stress. It's about how you manage it.